Stop. Before you scroll any further, answer this one. Was the last time your mind truly felt like it belonged to you? Not to your fears, not to your exhaustion, not to the noise around you, but to you. That's the hook. That's the doorway. And I want you to walk through it with me. Because here's the truth we often avoid. Your mind is the most powerful instrument you own, yet it's often running on programs you did not choose, stories you inherited, fears you absorbed, distractions you normalized, expectations you didn't sign up for. And when your mind is unfocused, the world will happily use it for you. I'm here to tell you something raw, something honest, something you might have been avoiding for years. Focus isn't a talent. Focus is reclaimed power. It's the moment you stop giving every loud thing the privilege of your attention. It's the moment you decide your mind is no longer a public playground. Reprogramming your mind begins with a single courageous realization. You are not your thoughts. You are the thinker. You are the observer. You hold the steering wheel, but somewhere along the way you forgot that. Maybe life overwhelmed you. Maybe chaos felt normal. Maybe the world conditioned you to react instead of choose. Right now, in this moment, I want you to breathe deeply and claim something back, your mental space. Because a focused mind is not born, it's built. Brick by brick, choice by choice, boundary by boundary. It is earned through consistency, honesty, and a fierce commitment to your own clarity. Today, we begin the journey of rewiring the patterns that have been draining your potential. We begin peeling away the noise so your truth can finally be heard. We begin reclaiming the discipline that leads to freedom. And yes, focus is freedom, not the rigid kind, not the pressured kind, but the kind that allows you to show up fully, intentionally, and unshakably. This is the beginning. Section 2 will take you deeper. Let me ask you something honest. When did your mind stop feeling like a calm room and start feeling like a crowded market? Because it didn't happen overnight. Losing focus is not a failure. It's a slow erosion, a drip, drip, drip of tiny moments where your attention was taken until one day it stopped being yours entirely. Your mind didn't lose focus because you're weak. It lost focus because it's been overstimulated, overpressured, and undernourished. Somewhere along the way, the world convinced you that multitasking was a badge of honor, that speed was more important than depth, that reacting fast mattered more than choosing well. So your brain learned chaos as a habit. It learned distraction as a survival mode. It learned to treat every notification like an emergency. And here's the emotional truth we rarely speak out loud. Your mind is exhausted from being pulled in 1,000 directions, but never truly being held by any of them. You've been running on stress, running on expectations, running on autopilot settings you never created. And when life keeps asking, give me more, give me more, give me more, your mind eventually stops asking, what do I need? So if your focus feels fractured, if your attention feels scattered, if your thoughts feel like wild horses you can't quite catch, it's not because you lack discipline. It's because the world trained you to be distracted. But here's the empowering part. Anything that is trained can be untrained. Anything that is conditioned can be reconditioned. Anything that has been programmed can be rewritten. Your mind isn't broken. It's overloaded. And overloaded minds don't need shame. They need rewiring. They need rest. They need clarity. They need a new story that isn't rooted in urgency and noise. You are not starting from weakness. You are starting from awareness. And awareness is the first spark in reprogramming your mental power. In the next section, we begin the actual rewiring process. Let me tell you something that might shake you a little. Your mind believes whatever you repeatedly tell it, even if it's a lie, even if it's outdated, even if it no longer serves who you are becoming. That's why reprogramming your mind is not a luxury. It's a responsibility, because if you don't intentionally shape your mental patterns, the world will shape them for you, and the world rarely chooses what's best for your soul. Here's the truth many people never learn. Your mind runs on loops, stories, habits, interpretations, emotional reactions. Most of them were created years ago, tucked into your subconscious, operating silently like background apps draining your battery. And the worst part, you didn't choose most of them. They came from parents, culture, trauma, teachers, past failures, heartbreaks, fears, comparisons, and moments you didn't even realize were shaping you. But today, you choose differently. Reprogramming starts with one powerful shift, becoming aware of the script running your life. You can't change a story you refuse to confront. You can't break a thought pattern you pretend isn't there. You can't build focus on a foundation that is cracked by old wounds and unconscious beliefs. So I want you to sit with this. What does your mind keep telling you that is no longer true? What fear keeps replaying even though the moment is long gone? What distraction feels easier than facing your own power? This is where the work begins. Because reprogramming your mind isn't about forcing yourself into positivity. It's about reclaiming authorship. It's taking the pen back from everything that wrote on your mind without your permission. A focused mind emerges when the inner noise quiets, and quiet comes from clarity. Clarity comes from courage. Courage comes from choosing to rewrite the stories that once owned you. You're not rebuilding your mind. You're redesigning it intentionally. And in section 4, we'll talk about breaking the old mental patterns that steal your focus. There's a moment in everyone's life when they finally realize this truth. You don't rise to your goals. You fall to your patterns. And the patterns running your mind right now, many of them are quietly stealing your focus, draining your energy, and keeping you stuck in cycles you never consciously chose. Let's name them, because anything you can name, you can change. One pattern is mental clutter, those looping thoughts, unresolved emotions, unfinished tasks, and constant micro decisions that wear down your clarity like waves eroding stone. Another is emotional reactivity, where you respond to everything immediately, urgently, without pausing to decide if it deserves space in your mind. When you react to everything, you stay scattered by everything. And then there's habitual distraction, the reflex of reaching for your phone, checking notifications, scrolling, refreshing, bouncing between tabs. Thousands, not because you need to, but because your mind has learned that discomfort should always be escaped, never processed. These patterns become mental fingerprints, automatic, invisible, deeply rooted. But here's the empowering part: patterns are not personality. They're simply repetitions, and anything learned can be unlearned. Breaking these patterns begins with one simple, uncomfortable, radically honest step. Slow down enough to see them. Pause when you feel the urge to escape. Hold yourself still when your mind wants to sprint. Ask yourself gently, is this reaction mine, or is it a pattern repeating itself? You cannot fix what you rush past. You cannot change what you refuse to acknowledge. And you cannot build focus on a mind that is constantly abandoning itself. When you shine light on a pattern, it loses power. When you interrupt a pattern, it weakens. When you replace a pattern, you reclaim control. This is the beginning of mental freedom, not from the world, but from your own wiring. In section 5, we'll dig into the transformative step. We're training your brain to choose focus instead of chaos. Your brain is not a fixed machine. It's a living, breathing, rewiring masterpiece. And every choice you make, every pause, every boundary, every moment of awareness is literally reshaping its structure. This is the magic of neuroplasticity. Your brain becomes whatever you repeatedly ask it to be. If you constantly feed it chaos, it becomes chaotic. If you constantly indulge distraction, it becomes distractible. But if you consistently train it to return to clarity, to stay with a task, to breathe through discomfort, to choose presence over noisy, your brain will begin to obey. Because a focused mind is not the result of inspiration. It's the result of discipline practiced in small, quiet moments. Let me give you a truth that feels simple but is profoundly life-changing. Focus is a muscle, and muscles grow through repetition, not inspiration. So how do you retrain your brain? You start small, microscopic even. You choose one task and stay with it for 5 minutes longer than your mind wants. You silence one notification. You finish one lingering responsibility. You sit with one uncomfortable thought instead of running from it. You breathe instead of react. These tiny practices teach your brain something important. I am in control. I choose where my mind goes. Every time you resist the urge to escape into distraction, your brain forms new neural pathways. One's wired for focus, not fragmentation. And here's the surprising part. Your mind doesn't need hours of silence to reprogram itself. It needs consistency. It needs intention. It needs you to show up, even imperfectly, because focus doesn't come from force. It comes from training. It comes from trust. It comes from choosing clarity again and again until it becomes the default setting of your mind. You are teaching your brain to obey your direction instead of your impulses. In section 6, we'll go deeper into how your environment can make or break your focus and how to redesign it for mental power. Let me tell you something bold and brutally honest. Your environment is programming your mind more than your intentions are. You can want focus with every part of your soul, but if your surroundings are built for distraction, your mind will lose the battle before it even begins. Because your environment isn't neutral. It is shaping you silently, constantly, powerfully. If your phone is always within reach, your attention will always be within stealing distance. If your space is cluttered, your mind will mirror that chaos. If your desk holds yesterday's stress, you'll sit down with today's overwhelm. If your room is noisy, your thoughts will be too. The environment you live in becomes the environment you think in. So if you want a focused mind, you must build a focused world around it. This isn't about becoming rigid or extreme. It's about becoming intentional. Start with your physical space, clear your desk, organize your essentials, remove what doesn't belong, let your environment breathe so your mind can breathe with it. Then shape your digital space. Turn off unnecessary notifications. The world will not crumble. Delete apps that drain your time and feed your anxiety. Create digital boundaries that protect your mental energy the same way you'd protect your home. Next, evaluate your social environment. Who pulls you into distraction? Who drains your attention with drama? Who disrupts your clarity with noise disguised as connection? You are not obligated to let every voice into your mental space. Some people must be loved from a distance for the sake of your inner peace. And finally, your internal environment. Your thoughts, your self-talk, your interpretations, these shape your focus more than anything outside of you. Designing your environment is an act of self-respect. It tells your mind, I am preparing a place where you can thrive. In section 7, we shift from environment to energy, how to protect your mental bandwidth from being emotionally drained. There's a type of exhaustion we don't talk about enough, the exhaustion that doesn't come from doing too much, but from feeling too much without boundaries. Your mental energy is not just drained by tasks, distractions, or noise. It is drained quietly, deeply by emotional leaks. And here's the truth you've probably felt but never said out loud. Some people, situations, memories, and habits are draining your focus long before you ever sit down to work. Your mind can't stay focused if your heart is carrying the weight of unresolved emotions. Confusion steals, anxiety steals focus, guilt steals focus, unspoken resentment steals focus, trying to please everyone steals focus. Pretending you're okay steals focus. Emotional exhaustion is the silent thief of mental clarity. So if you want to reprogram your mind for powerful focus, you must first close the emotional leaks. Let's talk about how. 1, stop assigning your peace to other people's reactions. When your worth depends on how others respond, you give your power away, your mind becomes a hostage to approval. 2, distance yourself from energy-draining conversations. Not every message needs a response. Not every argument needs your engagement. Not every emotional storm requires you to stand in the rain. 3, give yourself permission to not carry what isn't yours. You don't have to fix everyone. You don't have to hold everyone's emotions. You don't have to be the hero in every story. 4, normalize rest without guilt. Rest is not laziness. Rest is repair. Rest is how your mind gathers strength for clarity. 5, let go of emotional patterns that keep you stuck. Fear of disappointing others. Fear of letting go. These fears consume focus because they consume identity. Your mental energy is sacred. It is not endless. And protecting it is not selfish. It is foundational to a focused, powerful, intentional mind. Nothing grows in chaos. Nothing strengthens without repetition. Nothing becomes effortless until it becomes a ritual. A focused mind is not created in a single moment of inspiration. It is built through small, intentional habits that tell your brain, this is who we are now. This is what we do. Let's talk about the rituals that anchor your mental power. The morning reset ritual. Before you let the world in, you must first return to yourself. Give your mind a moment of silence, even 1 minute. Breathe deeply. Set one intention. Choose one priority. This is how you tell your brain what matters before the noise tries to decide for you. The single tasking ritual, multitasking, is the enemy of clarity. Pick one task. Give it your full attention. Stay with it until your mind strengthens its ability to hold focus. This ritual rewires your brain from chaos to presence. The micro break ritual, your brain is not built for constant intensity. Every hour, pause for 30 seconds. Roll your shoulders. Inhale deeply. Exhale slowly. Let your mind reset instead of overload. The digital boundary ritual, set hours for deep work and hours for connection. You don't have to be available to everyone all the time. Your time is not public property. Your attention is not an open invitation. The nightly debrief ritual, before you sleep, clear the mental clutter, write down unfinished tasks, reflect on what drained you and what fueled you. This single ritual frees your mind from carrying the weight of tomorrow. Daily rituals are not routines. They are declarations of who you are becoming. They teach your mind to follow your direction, not your impulses. Here's the truth most people overlook. Focus is not a habit. Focus is not a skill. Focus is a reflection of who you believe you are. You cannot sustain mental clarity if your identity contradicts it. If you see yourself as easily distracted, your mind will follow that narrative. If you think, I'm too busy to focus, your brain will confirm it. If you believe, I can't sit still with a single thought, your attention will scatter like windblown leaves. Reprogramming your mind for focus means reprogramming your self-image. It's not enough to practice concentration. You must believe deeply that you are the type of person who commands their attention. Here's how: claim the identity. Say it out loud. I am a focused person. Not tomorrow. Not when it's convenient. Say it now. Your mind listens more to identity than instruction. Act like the identity. Every time you choose focus over distraction, you reinforce your self-concept. Every time you pause instead of reacting, you solidify your mental power. Every time you prioritize what matters, you tell your subconscious is to protect the identity. Distractions, noise, and emotional chaos are tests, not obstacles. When you defend your attention, you defend your sense of self. Integrate identity into daily life. Focus is no longer just a practice. It becomes the lens through which you experience the world. Every conversation, every task, every thought is filtered through your self-definition. You are no longer wandering. You are intentional. You are no longer reacting. You are choosing. You are no longer scattered. You are aligned. When focus becomes identity, it stops being fragile. It stops being a skill that can be lost. It becomes your default setting. It becomes who you are: unshakable, present, empowered. This is the moment where everything you've learned becomes more than information. It becomes a promise, a declaration, a new way of living. Your mind is yours, not the world's, not fears, not habits. Yours. You have the power to direct it, to reclaim it, to reprogram it for clarity, courage, and purpose. All the noise that once controlled you, it can no longer dictate your life. All the chaos that distracted you, it can no longer steal your energy. All the patterns that once enslaved you, they can no longer define your reality. To take a deep breath and recognize this: you have done the work. You've seen the distractions. You have named the patterns. You have retrained your brain. You have designed your environment. You have protected your energy. You have created rituals. You have claimed your identity. And now you are ready. Focus is no longer a fleeting skill. It is your ally, your muscle, your superpower. Every day, your mind will still try to wander. Every day, temptation to scatter will knock on your door. But now you have the tools. Now you have the awareness. Now you have the courage to say no to what does not serve you and yes to what aligns with your purpose. This is your declaration: I am focused. I am intentional. I am the author of my thoughts, the guardian of my attention, and the commander of my mind. From this day forward, you will not give your attention carelessly. You will not allow distraction to define your potential. You will not let external chaos control your internal clarity. You have reprogrammed your mind. You have claimed your power. You have unlocked your focus. And that, my friend, changes everything. This is not the end of the journey. It is the beginning of a life lived with courage, clarity, and unstoppable focus. Own of it. Become it.